So I've been in the UAE already 16 years.
16 years?
Yes.
Wow.
We basically launched Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, all the address hotels. So when I came and I joined the group, Burj Khalifa was a half-size built.
Okay, so you've seen it growing.
Yes, I was selling a dream. I didn't have no idea, no clue what I was selling. I feel sometimes that the Arabic culture, it's sometimes very polite.
Yeah.
So we'll tell you yes.
Yeah.
We'll tell you how you are amazing.
Yeah. This video is brought to you by us, SCMDOJO. We provide awesome courses, guides, best practices for supply chain community. Hi folks, welcome to one more episode of Supply Chain Show. Today I have Sonia, and Sonia specializes in introducing businesses which are manufacturing or distribution companies enter into Middle East market. So technically speaking, we're not going to talk about supply chain, but this is something very important for supply chain because everyone wants to grow in Middle East, and everybody talk about Saudi or Dubai market, and they want to know how the business has been developed, and that's why I've got to know Sonia. So Sonia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Muddassir. Thank you for having me.
What's your full name, and tell us about your business first.
So I'm Sonia Zaknoune, and I'm the founder of KAZAconsultancy.
Right.
As you just mentioned earlier, we work with manufacturers and suppliers who wants to kickstart their activities in the UAE or grow their activities in the Middle East.
Right.
So you were talking about Saudi.
Yeah.
So we are specialists in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE obviously. So I've been in the UAE already 16 years.
16 years?
Yes.
Wow. And I can see French?
Yes, I'm from France.
France,
yes.
right. Okay, good.
So I came from like a little village east of France next to Switzerland.
Okay.
Where people were telling me, oh, Dubai, you are like, I'm like, my neighbors were cows and sheep.
And sheep, that's a progress, right? Go from south to this big building.
Exactly, so there's a change. But look, I think like most of us, it's hard to live. But no, very happy, enjoying, growing, finding more and more the balance between, the fun, the life and the business.
Right.
And it's such a fast-moving region. Yeah. Like you absolutely never feel bored. Right. And myself in my own business, I'm learning things every day.
So before I jump to the problem which I see, how you end up doing what you're doing? What's the story?
My journey here.
Because it's a very unique business proposition what you do, right? So,
yes. Yes.
Tell us quickly about that.
Basically, I started my career in UAE working for MR Hospitality Group.
Ah.
At the time,
Emaar, right? The famous Emaar.
Exactly. Okay. Right. So everybody knew Emaar as proproperties.
Yes.
They built all Dubai, I would say.
All Dubai, everywhere. Emaar, you will see that.
Yes.
It's owned by government, by the way. Yeah.
Exactly. And a little bit by chance, I'll be honest here, I joined the group on the hospitality sector. Right. And where we basically launched Burj Khalifa, Dubai Mall, all the address hotels. So when I came and I joined the group, Burj Khalifa was a half-size built.
Okay, so you've seen it growing.
Yes, I was selling a dream. I didn't have no idea, no clue what I was selling. The vision, etc. Yeah. So it was super, super exciting. Right. It's where I started to meet, I don't know,
rich people, right?
Yes. It was a place to be. It was a place to be. We were harassed by people to say.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous right
now. And from there, I stayed in the hospitality sector. But I moved, what I like to say, on the dark side, and I became a supplier. Okay, all right. So I work with different companies from abroad. Right. My first company was from Spain, and I was in charge myself of the Middle East market. And I work with companies a bit more known, like Nespresso. I was hoping to meet George Clooney, but it didn't happen. However,
you got me.
I got you, and I learned.
Not as good as, but a cheap copy of George Clooney.
Similar,
yeah.
And it's where I really started to work also I started to do project in Qatar, in Kuwait. I started to travel myself. Nice. I started to be a hunter quite quick. I used to love, and I still love today, going to the new project. Nice. Understanding what's going on, who's in charge, all the internal processes and channels. Right. And I would say that through this journey, I met a gentleman, kind of random, if I can say, and we started talking. The guy was from Holland. Okay. Had a company in distribution and supply in Holland, and working a lot on project in Europe.
What was they making?
He was distributor himself. So he was working with different companies.
But in Holland.
In Holland.
All right.
And selling product in hotels.
Right.
So we met in Dubai.
Right.
And we're talking, and he was like, oh, you know, he used to come to Dubai early 2000s, so earlier than me.
Okay.
And he was like, you know, I came many times to Dubai, I did those shows, etc. I met people, I targeted projects. I never succeeded to sell anything.
Right.
And me, I'm like, that's interesting, because I felt I was kind of successful at the time. I supplied from Burj Al Arab to Qatar Foundation to, you know, 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤, like I was everywhere. So I'm like, that's interesting. And it's where it hit me.
Yeah.
It hit me that, yes, it started already at the time, people having the eyes on the Middle East.
Right.
But I realized that they just didn't understand how to do business.
What time
here.
were we talking? 2005?
So me, it was at the time then 2010, 2011.
Okay.
But first this gentleman started to come in 2000.
Right.
So it's where it hit me. I'm like, yeah, people have their eyes in the Middle East, but literally don't understand how to do the business here. And I think for me, what I understood quite quick is either this misunderstanding of this market, of the delusion that either is super easy, or doing the business the same way you do in your own country. And both ways, it's not just not working. So it's where I'm like, okay, I have the knowledge, I have the huge network, I have the expertise, how can I help them? And it's where I started my journey of KAZAconsultancy. And what I provide basically is like quick entry to the business, is because I always say whatever, no matter what you're going to learn, correct? You go through. I went through that myself. I was going on construction site with my heels in the middle of August. You know what I mean? So everybody can learn 100%. But I'm going to accelerate this process for you.
Excellent. Now, what I've noticed, and in my space, I get contacted by a lot of software providers. I get a lot of manufacturing as well, especially logistics people. Oh, they think I'm in Dubai, I'm kind of influencer, so I can connect them to a customer. And everybody in Middle East, they still live in desert and they don't have internet connection. They don't know how the tech space works. They don't know about digital supply chain. But I think that's probably the biggest misnomer they've got.
100%.
Everybody thinks the supply chain maturity, or in general the business maturity, is not there, right? And they're just going to come in and whatever the solution or the software or the product they made, and they're just going to sweep the whole market. And I think that's the biggest misconception, especially the European companies have. I mean, American, I can say that as well, or any developed countries. That's my view. What
100%. I believe. You know what I said? Nobody's waiting for you. Nobody has been waiting for you, by the way. It's way advanced.
Yes.
You need to be more. You need to be actually faster. You're actually too late. Nobody's waiting for you. As you said, we're not living in the desert. We're not living in tents. 100%. And the culture part of it. Sometimes I say, especially being French, I give this example. French tend to complain a lot, but for some reason, and British. But for some reason, there's still communication. So you learn things, and you can work with the client. I feel sometimes that the Arabic culture, it's sometimes very polite. So we'll tell you yes. We'll tell you how you are amazing. How your product is amazing. And then you leave from here and think, wow, I'm going to make $1 million. And then nothing is happening.
Why is that?
Because you had a meeting, but did you really try to understand, or did you try to listen and hear what the other part has to say? Because sometimes we tend to just talk about ourselves and my product. And of course, you need to believe in your product, 100%. But who told you that your product is good? Who? Except yourself.
Except yourself, right?
So I always say, what I say to my clients, for example, they're like, oh, I want to find a distributor. Find me a distributor. Introduce me to distributors. I'm like, okay, but did you work on your own product positioning? Did you do a market research? Did you go by yourself, at least, if you came to Dubai? If you sell, for example, a food product, did you went to the supermarket, check what's going on? They don't do that. For me, it's something that shocked me almost. Go there, be curious. We say knowledge is power. It sounds so stupid to say, but it's so true. Go to a meeting as an end buyer. Do go to a meeting to a retailer. Go to a meeting to a distributor with knowledge. You know what? My product is this. This is how I want to position myself. I notice this and this exists. I notice this doesn't exist. And it's where we can maybe work together. But you cannot just go there and expect the other part to do everything for you, because it's not gonna work. There is a lot of mistakes that people make, and I realize they all make the same.
Okay, you talk a lot of mistakes. You clearly identified one, which is lack of understanding market and lack of understanding market research.
Yes.
Understood.
Yes.
What are the other two you would pick?
This,
I know a lot, but give
yeah,
me
yeah.
two.
For example, this is not a mistake, but it's just an advice I would like to give.
Yeah.
This market, as much as a huge potential, and it keeps growing, especially with the other countries around, it's still more on, they like, when I say they like, as a consumer, as distributors, as retailers, etc., like and prefer to work with brands who are already established.
Right.
And sometimes I had the cases where branding didn't launch anywhere, but wanted to launch in the UAE. It can work if you are extremely and super innovative. If it's a product that can be more or less standard, but with a specification that makes you different, of course, launch it already somewhere, maybe in your own country, in your region, and then you can come to the UAE. And the reason is why most of the time, marketing. The companies here, distributors, retailers, prefer to market or spend money on a brand that they believe can get into the market quite quickly. So it can be a year. Maybe you launched it a year ago. I'm not saying this has to be 10 years ago, but come already with my product is sold in whatever sales channels. I already sold my product in whatever within hotel groups, and then you have a little more chances to.
I will discuss two more observations, and then we go through your business process. How you actually help, because I know you have defined it's essentially service you provide, right? So basically, I would like to discuss in a few minutes how you package your service and how you offer your service and how people contact you. But before that, UAE, if you think about it, and Saudi to a certain extent, still it's a bit expat focus, right? I mean, if you think the stats of UAE, 11 point something million people. 73% of them are non-UAE native.
100%.
Huge amount of influx of the expats. Okay, and this is where I think there's another misconception. If you're coming to UAE, again, I'm not talking Saudi, but certain percentages also apply because Saudi have a lot of Egyptian immigration, Pakistani, Indians, Bangladeshi, Filipinos, tons of them. So because of this whole multicultural business environment, the culture is extremely diverse.
100%.
Essentially, you can't put your pulse on the culture, because if you go to a Dutch culture, they have certain nuances. If you go to French, you like a cheese, you like your wine. If you go to British people, they like their beer and they like football. Right? It doesn't work like that in the UAE. It actually doesn't work like that in Saudi. And given you are into businesses who are into distribution or hospitality, I think defining your, let's call it a product market fit, I think it's very challenging.
It's a key.
Right? Do you understand my question here?
Yes.
How you do that?
You were talking about the different communities, etc. It's who is your audience?
Yes.
Because sometimes people are just focused with luxury. If you actually target the mass, you can make much more money than if you target only always a niche.
Yes.
Because the niche is very, very small.
Yes.
But in terms of culture, I would say that it has changed a lot also in UAE for the last few years.
Yeah, you've been here a long time.
Yes. But for example, and don't think that you can target only one part or one type. You need to be a little bit more open to the idea to say, okay, as you said earlier, with Arabs, Asian, etc. How do I market my product to be able to still target and sell my product to the mass? When I say mass, is like the
diverse community.
Exactly. So, for example, in terms of marketing, how you do that, because we don't respond. Nobody responds the same way, correct? So, I think also there's misconceptions. It's like either I want only locals, which not going to work either if you really target only one part of the population, or I want only European, etc. But yeah, the community part of it, like for example, when we talk about some retails, I say it's not about I'm French, so I would say Carrefour. So you have the Carrefour, you have the Lulu, you have Almaya. You need to be really understand what's going on locally. And something I always teach, and it's the first thing, back to don't do the business the same way you do in your own country. Everything here is always part of groups, groups, holding companies, etc. So I was working with a client who was selling furniture. Perfect. Target was food and beverage concept, restaurant, cafes, etc. And I say if you sell your furniture in a restaurant or a cafe in Europe, in US, or mostly in the rest of the world, you have to convince probably the chef, because he has his way of doing.
He's an end user.
Exactly, and probably the investor. But here, Starbucks is part of 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿. any restaurant and cafes you have in Dubai Mall can be part of, for example, Rika's group, of MR group, or Solution Leisure. Like I can mention thousands of them.
Yeah.
But if you do not understand these internal processes, you're going to waste a lot of your time.
Right.
And you can say, okay, why not? I was working with a project on Costa Coffee for Oman, Saudi, Qatar, and they wanted to open 1 store per week. So I had a client who were like, we want to target this group, and I said, you're very smart. Because if you close a deal with them, you have like basically business coming every month. But for example, it was, and again, it's not wasting time, but it's kind of wasting time, going and meeting, let's say, a manager in a Costa, thinking, oh, he's going to give me information, I'm going to get this. But he didn't know that, for example, in Saudi and in Qatar, and in Kuwait, sorry, my mistake, in Kuwait, the franchise is Al-Ghanim Enterprises. So if you do not contact Al-Ghanim Enterprises, you will never sell for Costa Coffee You understand?
So so it takes time for people to even realize this.
Yeah, so again, going back and accelerating the learning process, you work with me in 3 months and you understand all this. From the market research to the positioning to understanding, and I work with them a lot on packaging, sizing, presentation deck, marketing deck. It's very often wrong. Bottle sizing, because here, for example, in terms of drinking water, we don't drink the same way that we drink water back to Europe, for example. Yeah. And as I said, sometimes if you go to a restaurant, it's much more, bigger family. So these little approaches, if you understand that in your positioning, you will be more successful. Mm-hmm. So it can be all these processes, like for market research, if I can say, adapting your packaging, as I said, your introduction to the local market. And then we start identifying who is your audience. For the example, when you talk about distributor, not every distributor is good for you. Find someone that will be good for your product and your brands. Maybe a distributor who is specialized in food business or in non-food business, or someone who is having, for example, a similar product than yours, but who wants to add a value to the existing, for example, portfolio. And it's where, I used to say that you go to a meeting and I'm like, I said to a distributor, I shouldn't say that live, but anyway, in a distributor, it's like, you know what? We want you because you did your homework before.
Right.
Don't go to 20 just because you believe that, one is going to work with me. What are you bringing on the table exactly?
Sure. Now, so we discussed, your depth of market is clear. You know all the nuances, all the difficulties, actually who to talk to. So that's clear.
Exactly.
Now, and since you're more from hospitality, but I know you have various connections in the industry, because I want to basically, for the audience, I want to explain the process of engaging with you, because like any service provider, we should know. So for example, I am a textile manufacturer, right? And I specializes in hospitality garments, right? Bed sheets or uniforms of the, hospitality waiters and stuff. So I come to you and say, you know what? I like what you're offering. I've seen the video of SCMDOJO. You're doing an awesome job. How can I engage you? How the process will work?
So again, every case, you have different cases, but I would say that the basic, exactly, in this particular example, when we said about the positioning, again, hospitality is quite fast. Is it hospitality in terms of like hotels, restaurants? Is it more luxury? Can you customize? Is it more standard?
I can do whatever you want. I can go after that. Go after that point. Yeah.
This is always I say that. I can do whatever
you want. Just go after that. Yeah.
Look, for me, it's already to understand what has a competitor. So what I will start doing is working with you. You know what I used to say? I'm your extension of your sales and business development team.
That's the key.
Because what is a mistake also? It's not a mistake, but you need to have someone based locally.
Right.
And you cannot I believe, automatically start opening an office, having a team.
That's costly, that's stupid.
It costs you a lot of money.
Do not do that. Strong recommendation. If you want to grow in Middle East, do not open your office, have sales team. 9 out of 10 times you're going to fail. Right?
Yes.
Talk to Sonia.
Yes. So I will be the first step.
Yeah.
Talk to me. I will be your extension.
Yeah.
And representative, if I can say like this.
Yeah.
Sales, marketing, business development representative for the Middle East.
Yeah.
So I will do the job on the ground for you.
Yeah.
So let's say you want to target hotels. I'm going to start identifying which hotel groups, which hotel within any groups. Right. For example, say, okay, World of Astoria, Hilton, Conrad. So I'm going to start from that. Accor group, etc. Then you go two directions: head office, headquarter, and different hotels. So who are you going to talk to? Housekeeper. Okay. Some people will say, no, I want to talk to the F&B director. You can, especially if it's an opening. Then you have the restaurant groups. Restaurant groups, big business for you. Okay. Usually they tend to want to be more different, more creative. So you have an opportunity to work with them on exciting projects. So again, the same story, groups. I have the one coming to my mind right now, but for example, if you go to Solution Leisure, or if you go to Rika's group, you know, from La Cantine to all this restaurant on GBR, and you say, okay, I'm going to 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤. Yeah. Why not? Nothing's too big for you, correct? But you need to understand who they work with already and why. Nobody, as I said, was waiting for you, but you can provide a better solution. So understanding how many, I don't know, what is the quantities, what is a project coming up? Mm-hmm. Are you opening something very soon? Then you understand the request and the requirements and the needs.
Okay, so how you make money in all this? You charge a fee to the distributor manufacturer, right?
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
And there could be an option for sales commission or a percentage going forward. That would be opportunity, no?
There is always a fixed fee.
Fixed fee, right?
Because of the current need.
No, because of time, because you're giving your time expertise.
Exactly.
If they hire salespeople or they open, it's going to cost them 3 times, 4 times.
They're gonna be saving a lot of money, even by paying my services. A lot of money.
Thanks to
exactly. So I have definitely a fixed fee. Usually I always start with 3 months minimum because it's just time to get the business in. You know, time that even me, I have the huge network and I tend to have the facility to meet people quite easily, but it still takes time. And then I always communicate with them. I don't know, it can be a weekly report, it can be a video call every 2 weeks. We exchange a lot. I'm a giver. Like I share everything. I believe in communication.
That's it. Communication is everything. I think it's a cliche we say that, but in supply chain, marketing,
super
business
important.
Is super important, right? So now I think we end
yeah.
of this because I think that's 25 minutes good.
I'm so passionate, I could about it
forever. I know. I get it. That the thing is, my camera finishes in half an hour.
It's
so
okay.
That's why I was looking, right?
Perfect.
We can have one more episode.
I hope we made
enough input. So
Perfect.
I think we see the audio, we see the feedback of this thing, and I think we should make one more video on a bit more detailed topic of let's call it
an industry or sector,
or a sector, maybe hospitality. I think especially F&B sounds pretty interesting and I have now a lot of interest in F&B supply chain and because we're making forecasting software.
I work with a lot of industry, cosmetic. It can be also services, by the way.
Okay.
Not only products.
Okay. So
services also. Yes.
SCMDOJO is part. That's why we are hiring Sonia to help us out. Right. That's why I know Sonia. Okay. No, that's so services, manufacturing, FMCG,
food, non-food,
and product.
No limit.
And no limit. Okay. How can they get access to you? What's your contact details?
So you can find me on LinkedIn, Sonia Zaknoune.
Yeah.
And my email address, I can share it here. I never do that actually.
Do that.
Sonia at KAZAconsultancy.com.
Yeah.
I was speaking French.
Okay. If you share with me, I'll put that into the description. So if you go to the description, you will find the email of
I will be very happy to talk with anybody about the project. I'm happy to spend some time with them first to identify the potential for them. No issue. And then they will take decision to move forward.
Great stuff. Any last piece of advice which people can, take
I believe that there is no limit. The only thing is to be a little bit smart in the approach. I would love to have everybody's success. I love success stories. I have plenty of them. And in the meantime, I like to still enjoy my life in Dubai. I was having barbecue in desert last night. We need to enjoy the road. Money goes, etc. But memories last forever. Yeah. So enjoy life. Yeah. Is what I'm trying to do also. But as much as I enjoy what I'm doing, I think it's quite great.
No, the one thing you said is success stories you have. And I think in the next episode, if you do, we should talk about more success stories. Because people like to hear good stories.
Of course.
People like to hear case studies, right? And
yes.
What I want to do in my content, I want to bring more case studies, right? So we're definitely going to talk to Sonia again. Thank you very much for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
it's been
you
lovely.
So much.
I really enjoyed it, actually.
Me
I learned a lot.
Too.
I really enjoyed talking to you. A great content. I think what you're doing for the Middle East region is pretty unique. I think if people go and hire Big Four or other let's call it BD services, or it's going to be very difficult. But with your network and with your experience, and you already shared a lot of insights, and you're definitely generous in your insights, and with your success stories, I think Sonia is the pro to know, as we say. So thank you very much for watching.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so hope you like what we're doing at SCMDOJO. We're going to keep bringing the good content for you guys, bringing the experts like Sonia, so all of us can benefit. So keep it simple and keep it real. Ciao. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.